All right, so we're diving into parenting styles today. We're going to be looking at the Sprouts video, the one about how different parenting styles can really shape a kid's life.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
We'll leave out the salesy stuff, just get into, like, the meat of it. But hey, before we even unpack all this, what got you interested in this whole parenting style thing anyway?
A good question.
Okay, so the video kicks off with these four, like, classic parenting styles, right? You got your authoritarian, permissive, authoritative, and then, well, neglectful. It's like, picture this. Sarah's parents, the authoritarian ones, they're all about rules, obedience, that whole tough love thing.
Right, like they want her to succeed by, like, fitting in, being well-behaved. But, and the video kind of touches on this, kids raised this way, they might struggle with, making their own decisions later on. Like, they're amazing at following the rules, but what happens when they have to trust their own gut?
Interesting.
It makes you think about how we develop that inner compass,
For sure. So then you've got the opposite end of the spectrum, Peter's parents, the permissive ones. They're all about showering him with love, freedom, basically saying yes to, like, keep him happy.
Yeah, which, sounds great on the surface, but the video, it suggests that this approach, it can backfire sometimes.
Oh, how so?
Well, without those opportunities to, like, deal with disappointment or boundaries, these kids, they might have a tougher time with self-control. And bouncing back from setbacks, that can be a real struggle.
That's a good point. It's like, if you never learn to cope with no, how do you handle it when life throws you a curveball?
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, are we, like, accidentally raising kids who are more motivated by getting rewards than, like, a genuine love for learning?
Totally. Okay, so then there's, like, the middle ground, the just right approach. The video calls it the authoritative style. Arthur's parents are a good example. They've got rules, but they're also, like, tuned in to what Arthur needs.
And kids raised this way, they tend to be more independent, They've got that confidence. It's like they've learned that their voice matters, but they also understand consequences and, like, taking responsibility for their actions.
That makes sense. And then, well, there's the neglectful parenting style. Not exactly something we want to dwell on, but, the video mentions it.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking because these kids, like Nora in the video, they often end up feeling invisible, like they don't matter.
Oh, that's so sad.
And that lack of attention, that emotional support, it can really make it hard for them to build healthy relationships later on. It's tough.
It really is. Okay, so get this. The video throws in this curveball, this fifth style. They call it the over-involved parent.
Oh, yeah.
Like the helicopter parents hovering over every little thing, or those snowplow parents clearing every obstacle.
Still common these days.
I know, right? And it's like they mean well, but...
But as the video points out, all that intervention, it can actually do more harm than good. Kids need space to, learn how to deal with challenges on their own, build that resilience.
Otherwise, how will they ever learn to stand on their own 2 feet?
Right.
It's like we want them to thrive, right? But are we accidentally, like, making them less equipped to handle the real world?
Yeah, and the video really emphasizes this need for balance, which I think is super important. They even mentioned the psychologist Diana Baumrind.
Okay, yeah.
She talks about how parenting is about finding that sweet spot, like between being demanding and being responsive to your kid.
So it's not just about being strict or lenient, it's about finding that, like, that in between.
Right, exactly. Like, you set expectations, you have boundaries, but you're also, like, really tuned in to your child's, their individual needs, their emotions.
So it's like a constant dance almost.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. And it's something I think about a lot, actually, because, the video, it quotes Maria Montessori.
Never help a child with a task at which he feels he can succeed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And it always stuck with me because it's like, we have to empower these kids to be capable, to be independent.
Totally. Like, sometimes the best thing we can do is, like, step back, let them figure it out.
Exactly. Even if it means, they might stumble a bit along the way.
Yeah, because those stumbles, those are like the learning moments, right? That's where the growth happens. But how do you know when to, like, step in and when to let go? It feels like, I don't know, a constant juggling act.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
And the truth is, there's no magic formula. It's different for every kid, every situation. But I think what this video is really encouraging is, like, being mindful, like really understanding that our actions have an impact.
So instead of stressing about, like, labeling ourselves as this or that type of parent, it's more about being, like, adaptable.
Yes. Being present, observing how your child responds to different things, and being open to adjusting as you go.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, you got to find what works for your family, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's something super important to keep in mind with this video, actually. Like, we've been really diving deep into these parenting styles.
Yeah.
But it's just one perspective, you know?
True.
It's mostly based on, like, what parents are saying about their own experiences.
And Western ideas about raising kids, too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And those ideas, they aren't the be-all and end-all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's not like a universal handbook or something.
It's more like, how do I put it? Like, we're only seeing a tiny piece of a much bigger picture.
Totally. So, like, as you're thinking about all this, it's good to keep in mind that cultural differences, they play a huge role. What works for one family might not work for another, right?
Absolutely. And that's perfectly okay. It's all about finding what feels right for you, for your family. It's about trusting your own instincts. You know?
Yeah, like, you're the expert on your own kids. So basically, don't be afraid to question things, do your own research, and most importantly, trust your gut.
Exactly. You got this.
And that's our deep dive for today. Don't forget to check out the show notes for links and extra resources. Until next time.